AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because she banned my husband from the ceremony. This has been a massive source of tension in my family for the past few months, and I still can't tell if I'm the asshole or if my sister and her fiancé are completely out of line. A bit of background. I'm 32F, married to my husband, Dan, 34M, for 6 years. We've been through a lot together, including moving across the country for his job and supporting each other through health struggles. My sister, Lily, 29F, has always been the more dramatic sibling, very opinionated and a bit controlling, but we've generally gotten along well. We grew up in a tight-knit family and have always attended each other's big events. Lily got engaged last year, and almost immediately, she began planning what she calls the perfect wedding. The problem started when she told me she was banning Dan from the wedding ceremony itself. According to her, Dan is too disruptive and not the kind of energy she wants in her ceremony. This came completely out of left field because Dan has never caused any problems at family gatherings or events. He's quiet, polite, and always goes out of his way to be respectful, even when he doesn't agree with someone. When I asked her why she was singling him out, she said it was because he made a scene at her bachelorette party last year. I was stunned because Dan wasn't even at the bachelorette party. It was women only, and he had no reason to be there. When I pressed for more details, Lily admitted that the scene was actually a minor argument between her and Dan over a comment he made about the party's location. Apparently, she exaggerated it to justify her decision. I told her that banning Dan from the ceremony was unfair and hurtful, especially since I'm a part of the wedding party, and she was excluding my husband from such an important moment. She accused me of being overly sensitive and told me that if I didn't agree with her rules, maybe I shouldn't be involved in the wedding at all. I was shocked and heartbroken. I tried to reason with her, explaining that Dan and I are a package deal and that excluding him felt like excluding me too. I asked if he could at least attend the ceremony quietly and not cause any trouble, but she was adamant. No, Dan. As the wedding date got closer, Lily sent me a formal invitation for the ceremony and the reception, but included a handwritten note reiterating that Dan was not allowed at the ceremony. She said he could join the reception afterward, but only after the ceremony was over. I talked to Dan about it, and he was hurt, but didn't want me to miss my sister's wedding because of him. He said he'd be okay attending just the reception, but I told him I couldn't go without him. I told Lily I was declining the invitation because I wasn't going to be part of a wedding where my husband was banned. This caused a huge rift in the family. My parents and other siblings tried to mediate, but Lily was stubborn, saying that the wedding was her day and she had the right to set the guest list and rules as she wanted. Some family members think I'm being selfish and overreacting, while others support my decision not to attend without Dan. I'm devastated because I love my sister and wanted to be there for her, but I also can't accept her treating my husband like an outcast for no good reason. Dan has never done anything to warrant this, and it feels like Lily is punishing me by excluding him. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because she banned my husband from the ceremony? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior and now being blamed for ruining the family? My sister, Emily, and I have always had a complicated relationship. We're 5 years apart, and while we were close growing up, things started to drift apart as we got older. We have very different personalities. I'm more reserved and private, while she's outgoing and very social. Despite that, I was always supportive of her milestones and tried to keep family ties strong. Emily got engaged about a year ago to a man named Jake. From the beginning, I was uneasy about him, but I kept those feelings to myself because Emily was genuinely happy. Jake seemed charming and successful on the surface. He had a great job, was well-spoken, and seemed like he genuinely cared about her. Everyone in the family was excited, and naturally, I wanted to be supportive. Over time, however, I started to notice some red flags that made me uncomfortable. The first time I really saw Jake's behavior up close was at a family dinner a few months after the engagement. He was condescending toward my parents and made a few snide remarks about their jobs and their old-fashioned views. I shrugged it off, assuming maybe he was just nervous or didn't know them well yet. But only got worse. At another family gathering, Jake loudly criticized the food and the house, making it clear he looked down on our middle-class lifestyle. He also insisted on controlling every aspect of the event, telling my sister what to do and dismissing anyone else's opinions. Emily seemed overwhelmed, but didn't push back. The biggest red flag for me was when Jake made a cutting joke about my mental health struggles in front of the whole family. I had been open about dealing with anxiety and depression for years, and Jake's joke was not only cruel, but completely unnecessary. I confronted Emily privately afterward, hoping she'd see what I was seeing. Emily told me that Jake was just joking and that I was overreacting. She said that I was being overly sensitive and that if I wanted to keep peace in the family, I should just let it go. I tried to explain that it wasn't about being sensitive, but about being treated with respect. She disagreed, saying Jake was a good guy and I needed to trust her judgment. In the months that followed, Jake's behavior only got worse in private conversations I overheard. He would belittle Emily when no one else was around and try to isolate her from other family members. Emily started canceling plans and seemed withdrawn. I tried talking to her about it, but she shut me down every time. When Emily announced the wedding date, I was hesitant to get involved. I didn't want to be part of a day that felt like a celebration of someone treating my sister poorly. I told Emily that I wasn't comfortable attending if Jake was going to be there acting the way he does. I suggested we try family counseling or at least have a serious conversation with him about his behavior before the wedding. Emily got angry and told me I was being unreasonable and selfish. She accused me of trying to ruin her happiness and said that if I didn't attend, I was essentially choosing to be estranged from the family. I tried explaining that my issue wasn't with her, but with Jake's behavior, which I felt was harmful and toxic. She said that since I was rejecting her fiancé, I was rejecting her too. The situation escalated when my parents sided with Emily, saying I was making a big deal out of nothing and that families have to accept each other's partners, flaws and all. I felt completely isolated and hurt. I told them that I wasn't trying to sabotage the wedding. I just couldn't be around someone who treated my sister and the family with such disrespect. The week before the wedding, Emily sent a group text saying that she hoped I would come, but that if I didn't, it would be a sign I didn't care about her or the family. She also called me multiple times, pleading with me to reconsider. I stood firm and said I couldn't attend. On the wedding day, I stayed home. I blocked out the calls and texts from family members calling me selfish and dramatic. A few days later, Emily unfriended me on social media and hasn't spoken to me since. My parents say I'm the one causing the rift and that I should apologize to Emily and Jake for being difficult. I still feel strongly that Jake's behavior is unacceptable. I didn't want to endorse it by attending the wedding. But now I'm being blamed for tearing the family apart. I'm torn between standing by my principles and trying to mend fences for the sake of family peace. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of how she treated my kids. This has been a massive source of tension in my family for the past 6 months, and I've been second-guessing myself constantly. I'm hoping to get some clarity from strangers because right now, even my closest friends and family are divided on whether I'm being unreasonable or justified. So, some background. I, 38F, have 2 kids, ages 8 and 5. My younger sister, 34F, is getting married next month. For the sake of anonymity, I'll call her Emily. Emily and I have always had a somewhat strained relationship, mostly because she's very particular about her social image and can be cold or dismissive when things don't fit her idea of how things should be. Emily's wedding is supposed to be this huge, very elegant affair, the kind of event she's dreamed about since she was a teenager. I'm talking a formal venue, strict dress codes, a guest list with some very influential people from her industry, and all the trappings of a perfect wedding. My kids have never been an issue at other family events, but Emily's always been uncomfortable around them, mostly because they're very active and noisy. She's never outright said they're not welcome, but her attitude and some things she said have been pretty clear. Fast forward to a few months ago when Emily sent out the wedding invitations. Along with mine and my husband's invite, there was a separate note stating that due to the formality and limited space, the event will be adults only. I get that weddings can be complicated and adults-only events are not unheard of, but what bothered me was the way it was phrased. As if my kids were an inconvenience, she was reluctantly excluding. Also, other couples with kids were invited with their children, so it wasn't a blanket no kids rule, just selective. I tried to bring this up with Emily, asking if there was a specific reason my kids couldn't attend when others' children could. She brushed it off and said the venue was small and they had to limit numbers, but honestly, it didn't add up because I knew the total guest list was over 150 people. She also said my kids wouldn't behave appropriately for the setting, which stung. At this point, I started feeling really hurt. I love my kids, and to me, excluding them like that felt personal, like Emily didn't want them around or worse, didn't want me to be fully present with them. I talked it over with my husband, and we agreed that if we were going, it would be just the two of us. We arranged childcare for the day. A couple of weeks later, my parents invited me and my kids over to help them with some garden work. Emily was there, and the kids were being their usual energetic selves. Emily snapped at them several times for being too loud or messy, which made my parents and me uncomfortable because they were just being kids. Then she said to me, maybe if you kept them in check, you could come to the wedding without any drama. I try to keep calm and explain that they are young and need room to be themselves, especially around family. But Emily rolled her eyes and said, "You're just making excuses. I'm not trying to exclude you. I'm just asking for a certain level of decorum." After that, I told her I was thinking about not attending the wedding at all. She seemed surprised and asked why. And I said, "Because it feels like you don't really want us there. It feels like you're punishing me by excluding the kids and making it clear you don't want them around." Her response was cold. "If you want to make this about the kids, fine. But this wedding is about me and my fiancé, not about your family drama." I told her I'd think about it, but honestly, the damage was done. I talked it over with my husband, and we decided not to attend. I told Emily about our decision a month ago, and since then, the family drama has exploded. My parents are furious with me for throwing away a chance to celebrate Emily. They think I'm being petty and that I should just suck it up for one day. Emily has blocked me on social media and won't answer texts. Other family members are calling me selfish and saying I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. I'm torn because I love my sister and want her to be happy, but I also feel hurt and disrespected. It's not just about the wedding. It feels like a deeper rejection of my family. So, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of how she treated my kids and me? Or should I have just put my feelings aside and gone to keep the peace?